The ultimatum. The night sky above Earth was no longer dark. It was filled with lights that did not belong to stars. Hundreds of alien warships floated above the blue planet, each one larger than any human city. They hung in silence, like giants, waiting for the order to crush. Inside every human home, fear spread like fire. People stopped their work. Children cried. Soldiers tightened their fists. The world knew the end had come. Or at least it looked like the end. The aliens sent their message through every screen, every device, every radio signal. A towering alien figure appeared, its face cold and sharp, eyes glowing with a cruel light. It spoke in a deep voice, translated instantly into every language. Humans of Earth, your time has ended. Your armies are dust before us. Your weapons are toys to our power. You will surrender and you will serve. If you resist, your planet will burn. Silence followed. On the streets of New York, London, Tokyo, and Karachi, people froze. Mothers hugged their children tighter. Old men shook their heads. Some whispered, "Maybe we should surrender. Maybe we cannot fight them." But others clenched their teeth, refusing to bow. In a hidden bunker deep under the Rocky Mountains, human leaders gathered. Generals, scientists, and presidents sat around a glowing table. The room was tense. No one dared to breathe too loud. They had seen the alien fleet with their own eyes, and it was terrifying. Still, one old general with scars on his face stood and spoke. "They think we are weak, they think we will kneel, but they do not know us." His words were heavy, filled with fire. They have made a mistake. They believe fear will break us, but fear only unites us. A scientist with tired eyes shook his head. "Our weapons cannot match their technology. Our fleets are too small, our defenses too thin." But the general only smiled a hard smile. "Then we will fight like humans, not like machines." Meanwhile, outside, across the globe, the alien ships began to position themselves. They hovered over major cities, casting huge shadows across skyscrapers and oceans. The alien voice spoke again. "You have one day to decide. Surrender peacefully, or watch your world burn." People argued in streets and homes. Some shouted, "Surrender will save lives." Others cried out, "Better to die free than live as slaves." The world was split, but the spark of defiance had already been lit. In the bunker, the human council argued through the night. Some leaders begged for surrender, fearing total destruction, but others refused. Finally, the old general slammed his hand on the table. "They don't understand. Humans never surrender, not when our families are at stake, not when freedom is at stake. We fight, no matter the cost." The room fell silent. A young commander leaned forward, his voice calm but strong. "If they expect surrender, we give them war. If they expect weakness, we show them strength. They will see that Earth is not easy prey." Far above in the cold, void of space, the alien fleet watched. Their commanders sneered, already planning how they would enslave humanity. They underestimated humans. They thought Earth was just another world to add to their empire. But deep below, the first human counterplans were already being drawn. Factories hidden under mountains prepared to awaken. Secret projects long kept in shadows waited for their moment. The ultimatum had been given, but humanity's answer was not fear, it was fire. And so, while the alien ships covered the sky, the human spirit refused to kneel. The countdown to war had begun, and the aliens, without knowing, had already made their first mistake. They thought humans would surrender. But they were wrong. The hidden arsenal. The alien fleet waited above Earth, their ships glowing like cold suns in the night. Every hour that passed, fear grew stronger among the people. But deep underground, far from the alien eyes, humans were preparing something no outsider expected. Beneath the Rocky Mountains, huge, steel doors opened to reveal tunnels stretching for miles. Inside, thousands of workers, scientists, and soldiers moved with quiet determination. Engines roared, machines hammered, sparks flew. It was not chaos. It was unity. The world had finally come together, not as separate nations, but as one species. Hidden for decades, humanity had been building weapons in secret, projects that no civilian had ever heard of, war machines that governments had denied even existed. Now those secrets came alive. Massive underground factories began to assemble orbital cannons, their barrels long enough to pierce through the sky. Stealth ships, dark and sharp as knives, were pulled from hidden hangars. Their hulls absorbed light, making them nearly invisible. Drones the size of birds, carrying explosives strong enough to rip through alien armor, were loaded by the thousands. One young technician wiped sweat from his face as he checked the systems of a drone. His hands shook, but his eyes burned with focus. "This one goes to my brother," he whispered, remembering the brother lost in the first alien strike. Around him, others worked silently, each one carrying their own pain, their own reason to fight. In another corner of the bunker, scientists tested something even more dangerous. A weapon powered by experimental energy reactors. It was unstable, untested, but powerful beyond imagination. They called it Project Spear, a weapon that could punch a hole through even the largest alien cruiser. The chief scientist stood before it, his heart pounding. If this works, humanity has a chance. If it fails, we all burn, he muttered, but his hands did not stop. Meanwhile, human leaders argued again in the war room. Some doubted the secret arsenal would be enough, but the old general returned, his voice like iron. "Listen to me, they believe we have nothing. They think we are helpless, but in the shadows we have built weapons that even they cannot imagine. These aliens have never fought humans before. They don't know our fire." The young commander leaned over the glowing map of Earth. "We won't fight them like they expect," he said. "They believe in big fleets, open battles, crushing force. But we will fight differently. We will strike from the shadows. We will cut their supply lines. We will bleed them piece by piece until their pride turns to fear." The plan was dangerous, but it was the only way. Every secret weapon would be used, every hidden project would be unleashed. Humanity would not wait for the aliens to destroy them. They would strike first. Above the planet, the alien fleet was. Confident inside their flagship, alien commanders laughed at human broadcasts. "They argue among themselves like children." One alien sneered. "They cannot even decide if they want to fight or kneel. This world will fall in days." But far below, the humans were not arguing anymore. They were preparing. A group of stealth pilots gathered in a dim hangar, their black ships lined behind them. The leader, a woman with sharp eyes, spoke quietly. "They think Earth has no teeth. Tonight we prove them wrong. Tonight we fly not for medals but for survival. Remember what's at stake? Your families. Your homes, our world." Her words echoed in the hangar. Not one pilot stepped back, not one looked afraid. They were ready, all over the world, hidden arsenals awakened. In Siberia, silos opened to reveal missiles tipped with new warheads. In the deserts of Africa, hidden bases powered up railguns on secret stations in orbit. Robotic soldiers were activated for the first time. It was as if the entire planet had been holding its breath for years, waiting for this moment. Ordinary people, too, were preparing. Farmers donated fuel, workers gave their skills, doctors trained to save the wounded. The fight was not just for soldiers, it was for everyone, because everyone had something to lose. As the 24th hour of the alien ultimatum approached, the alien fleet prepared to unleash fire, but deep underground, humanity's hidden arsenal stood ready. The world's leaders gathered one last time. The old general's voice carried across the room. "They wanted us on our knees. Instead we rise. Tonight, humanity shows the galaxy what it means to fight, for freedom." A silent cheer spread through the war room, not of joy but of determination. The countdown ticked, alien weapons charged, human engines roared. The war was about to begin, and in that moment, as the hidden arsenal came alive, truth became clear. The aliens had made a fatal mistake. They expected surrender, but humanity had been waiting for war. First blood. The alien fleet moved like a storm across the stars. Their ships were massive, their weapons glowing with deadly light. They had given their ultimatum, and now, the countdown was over. The time had come to crush Earth from orbit. The alien commander gave his orders. Begin the strike, burn their cities, break their spirit. They will kneel before the day ends. His voice was calm, certain. For him, this was not a war. It was execution. Below, in the hidden hangars of Earth, the humans were ready. Stealth ships hummed to life, their black wings unfolding like predators in the night. Pilots sat inside their cockpits, hands tight on the controls. One young pilot whispered a quiet prayer. Another kissed a photo of his family. The leader, Commander Vega, spoke into the comms. "Remember, we strike first, we strike fast, the world is watching. Let them know humanity will never kneel." The hangar doors opened, and one by one the stealth ships shot into the sky. They rose silently, invisible to alien eyes. Their engines left no trail, their hulls reflected no light. They were ghosts in the night. Above the clouds, the alien fleet spread across the sky like a wall of metal. They believed they were untouchable, but they had never faced human cunning before. The first wave of stealth fighters slipped past the alien scanners, moving close, too close, beneath the massive cruisers. Then, with a single command, they struck. Explosions ripped through the silence of space. One alien cruiser burst into flames. Another cracked open like glass. The aliens screamed in confusion. "They are attacking! How?" But it was too late. Humans had drawn first blood. On Earth, people looked to the skies and saw fire raining down. At first they feared it was alien weapons, but then cheers broke out as news spread. "Aliens are falling. Humans are fighting. Back." Commander Vega's voice cut through the chaos. "Stay sharp, they will hit back harder. We are not here to win today, we are here to show them. We fight." Her ship dodged a beam of alien plasma, twisting through the dark like a blade. She fired, and another alien fighter spun out of control, crashing into its own mothership. The aliens recovered quickly. Their ships lit up with weapons fire, flooding the battlefield with deadly beams. Dozens of human drones were torn apart in seconds. One stealth fighter was caught in a blast, spinning into the void. The pilot's last words echoed through the comms. "Tell my family. I fought for them." Then silence. Pain stabbed through the squadron, but instead of fear, it brought fury. The humans struck back with everything they had. Missiles streaked across the black sky, drones swarmed like angry hornets. The aliens were powerful, but they were not invincible. In the war room underground, human leaders watched the battle unfold on giant screens. The old general's eyes burned as alien ships fell. "For the first time in history, Earth fights as one," he whispered. Beside him, scientists and commanders shouted updates. 3 alien cruisers destroyed. 2 stealth fighters down but still fighting. Hope flickered in the dark. Above, the alien commander slammed his claws on the control panel. "Impossible. These humans should be broken, not attacking us." But the truth was clear. They had underestimated humanity. The battle raged on. For every alien ship destroyed, humans lost twice as many fighters, but the spirit of the pilots did not fade. One pilot rammed his burning fighter straight into an alien battleship. The explosion tore a hole through its armor, and the humans cheered. It was not just war, it was defiance. On the ground, crowds gathered in every city. They watched the skies as fire lit up the heavens. Strangers held hands. Children pointed in awe. For the first time since the invasion began, people felt pride, not fear. Commander Vega's ship darted through alien fire. Her voice rang out, steady and unbroken. "They wanted surrender, but they got war. Remember this moment, because tonight humanity has drawn first blood." With one final strike, the human squadron pulled back. They had lost many, but they had done what no one thought possible. The alien fleet, mighty and arrogant, had been hurt. It was a wound not of metal, but of pride. As the humans retreated, to regroup, the alien commander stared at the wreckage of his ships. His cold eyes narrowed. "These humans are dangerous, more dangerous than we believed." And in that moment, for the first time, the aliens felt something they had never felt before: fear. The first battle was over. The war had only begun, but the galaxy would remember this day. The day humanity spilled alien blood and proved they would not surrender. The turning point. The wreckage of alien cruisers still burned in Earth's orbit. Pieces of metal fell into the atmosphere, glowing like fireballs across the night sky. On the ground, people pointed upward, cheering, crying, shouting with pride. For the first time, Humanity had shown the galaxy that it would not break. But inside the alien flagship, silence filled the command deck. The alien commander's claws tapped the cold metal table. He stared at the reports. 3 cruisers lost, dozens of fighters destroyed. It was not much compared to their full power, but it was enough to wound their arrogance. They dared to resist, he hissed, his voice sharp as a blade. They dared to spill our blood. He stood tall, his eyes glowing with rage. Prepare the retaliation. No more warnings, no more ultimatums. Burn their cities, break their bones, let them learn the price of defiance. Moments later, the alien fleet unleashed its fury. From orbit, beams of searing plasma cut through the sky. They struck at human cities. Bridges melted, towers collapsed, streets turned into rivers of fire. Millions screamed as the war came. Crashing into their homes in New York, entire blocks vanished in a single strike. In Moscow, the night became brighter than day as plasma tore across the skyline. In Cairo, people ran to the desert for safety, leaving their homes behind. It was horror, pure and merciless. Underground, in the bunkers, leaders watched with broken hearts. The young commander slammed his fist on the table. They're slaughtering civilians. But the old general's eyes remained cold, though his heart burned inside. They want to scare us back into chains. Instead, every death will forge our will stronger. We cannot back down now. In hidden tunnels, survivors gathered. Doctors worked on the wounded with trembling hands. Children whispered questions their mothers could not answer. Yet even in the fire, humanity refused to collapse. Ordinary people became fighters overnight. Farmers carried rifles, students became messengers, old veterans returned to war. It was no longer just an army's fight. It was everyone's fight. Meanwhile, resistance cells began striking from the shadows. In Paris, a small group sabotaged an alien supply depot in Delhi. Fighters hijacked alien drones and turned them against their masters. In the jungles of South America, guerrilla units ambushed alien patrols, disappearing like ghosts. Everywhere, humans fought back, not with strength, but with cunning. The aliens had the bigger fleet, but humanity had the sharper spirit. In the war room, the first reports of resistance poured in. A young soldier smiled through blood and sweat. "Sir, they destroyed another alien patrol near the coast. They didn't see it coming." The old general nodded, his voice steady. "This is how we fight. Not in open fields where they are strongest, but in shadows, in fire, in every corner of our world. They will never know peace while they walk on Earth." Still, the cost was heavy. Entire cities were gone, millions displaced. Even the bravest hearts began to wonder, could humanity survive such fury? Commander Vega returned from orbit with only half her squadron alive. Her ship was scarred, her eyes hollow with grief. She stood before the council and saluted. "We struck them, but we lost too many. We cannot win head-on. Not like this." Her voice shook for a moment, but then hardened. "But we are not finished." She placed a data drive on the table. "While fighting, we scanned their fleet. We found weak points, power relays, shield gaps. They think they're invincible, but their pride has blinded them. We can use this." The council leaned forward. Hope sparked again in tired eyes. The old general allowed a thin smile. "Then this is the turning point. We've bled, we've lost, but now we know how to strike back. Harder, sharper, deadlier." Above, the alien commander prepared his next wave, but deep inside, a shadow of doubt crept into his mind. Never before had a primitive species fought back like this. Never before had they turned fear into fury so quickly. He looked at the burning wreckage of his fallen ships, and for the first time he wondered, what if we cannot break them? On Earth, humanity buried its dead, but from those graves rose something stronger than despair. Unity. Billions of voices, billions of hearts, beating with one cry. We will not surrender. The war had shifted. The aliens had the power, but the humans had the spirit, and that spirit was something no weapon could destroy. The first blood had been spilled. The retaliation had been brutal, but in the ashes of their cities, humanity found its turning point. The human secret weapon. The war had already burned the skies. Cities lay in ruins, millions displaced, and the alien fleet still loomed above. Every human strike was brave, but every victory came at a terrible price. Humanity was bleeding, but It was not broken. In the deepest bunker beneath the moon's shadow, a secret project lay hidden. It was larger than any weapon Earth had ever built. It was a ship, no, a fortress, with armor thicker than mountains and engines that hummed like thunder. Its name was whispered only among the highest commanders. The Titan. For decades it had been a myth. Rumors spoke of a giant dreadnought built in silence, using technology stolen, tested, and pushed beyond human limits. Only a handful of scientists and engineers had ever seen it. Now, with Earth on the edge of destruction, the old general gave the order, "Awaken the Titan." In the hidden lunar hangar, alarms blared and giant doors began to open. Dust that had settled for years shook off the enormous hull. Lights flickered across its black body, weapon systems powering up one by one, cannons the size of buildings, missile silos buried deep in its frame, and at its heart, the most dangerous creation of all, an experimental reactor that could outmatch alien cores. Dangerous, unstable, but powerful enough to change the war. Inside the Titan's command deck, hundreds of crew members rushed to stations, pilots strapped in, engineers checked systems, officers barked orders. Every face carried the same truth. They knew this was their last gamble. If Titan failed, Earth would burn. If Titan succeeded, humanity would rise. Commander Vega stood at the front of the deck, her uniform still scarred from the last battle, her eyes sharp with fire. "This ship is more than steel, more than weapons," she said, her voice carrying through the comms. "This ship is hope. Every child, every family, every life on Earth depends on us. Today, we take the fight to them." As the last lock disengaged, the Titan roared to life, engines ignited with a blinding glow, lifting the giant dreadnought out of the moon's shadow. For a moment, the silence of space was broken by the birth of humanity's greatest weapon. The Titan rose, slow and unstoppable, its black hull gleaming like the wings of a beast ready to strike. Above Earth, alien commanders noticed the movement. One officer hissed, "A human warship?" The commander's eyes narrowed. "No, that is no warship I have ever seen." The aliens had believed they had seen all human weapons. They were wrong. The Titan broke into open space. Its massive cannons swiveled, targeting the nearest alien cruiser. With a single, thunderous shot, a beam of energy cut through the alien shields as if they were paper. The cruiser split apart in a fiery explosion. The battlefield went silent. Even the aliens could not believe what they had seen. On Earth, people watching from bunkers and screens erupted in cheers. They had seen their cities fall, their families die. But now, for the first time, they saw the enemy burn under a weapon of their own. The alien commander's voice trembled with fury. "Destroy it! Bring everything we have." Dozens of alien battleships turned their guns on the Titan. Beams of plasma lit up space, smashing into the dreadnought's shields. The Titan shook, but it did not fall. Its armor groaned, its reactors screamed, but its weapons answered with fire. Missiles streaked out, tearing holes through alien lines. Railguns fired, punching straight through cruisers. Drones launched from hidden bays, swarming across alien fighters like hornets. The Titan was not just a ship, it was a storm. Commander Vega stood steady as the ship rumbled under enemy fire. Her hands never shook, her voice never wavered. "Keep firing, push them back, show them Earth does not bow." Every crew member fought with everything they had, not for medals, not for glory, but because this was the last line between survival and extinction. Alien ships began to fall one by one. Their arrogance turned into confusion, their confidence into fear. They had thought humans were children with sticks, but here was a monster of steel that ripped their pride apart. Still, the Titan was not invincible. Every shot drained its unstable reactors. Alarms screamed as systems overheated. One officer shouted, "Reactor at 80%, we can't keep this up." But Vega's reply was sharp and unbroken. "Then we fight until we burn, because if we fall, Earth falls with us." As the Titan cut through another wave of alien warships, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. The balance had shifted. For the first time, the aliens were not hunters. They were prey from his flagship. The alien commander watched in silence. His claws dug into the metal, his pride bleeding. This This should be impossible, he whispered. But it was not impossible. It was humanity. The secret weapon had been revealed, and with it, the war was no longer one-sided. It was a fight the aliens could not easily win. The fall of arrogance, the Titan hung in orbit like a giant beast, its cannon still glowing from the last barrage. Alien wreckage floated all around it, burning pieces of cruisers scattering like broken stars. For the first time since the war began, humanity had forced the aliens to step back. On Earth, people cheered in the streets. They pointed to the sky, shouting, "That's ours. That's humanity." In bunkers, soldiers pounded their fists on the tables, their eyes burning with hope. Even the broken cities, still covered in smoke, felt alive again. But in the alien flagship, silence ruled. The commander sat rigid, his claws shaking on the metal armrest. Reports filled the air. 7 ships lost, 30 fighters destroyed, human dreadnought, still operational. Every word was poison. This was supposed to be easy. This world was supposed to kneel. The commander slammed his fist, shattering the console. They are insects. They cannot stand against us. We will remind them what fear is. He ordered a full-scale assault. Hundreds of alien ships surged forward, covering the stars in fire. Plasma beams lit the void, striking the Titan. The dreadnought shook, its shields screaming. Still, it fired back, cutting down battleships in blinding bursts. Inside the Titan, alarms blared. The reactor's heat climbed. Hull plates buckled under the storm. Crew members shouted reports. Shields at 50%. Port side armor breached. Casualties on deck 4. But no one abandoned their posts. Every hand stayed steady. Every voice stayed sharp. Commander Vega stood at the front, her eyes locked on the chaos outside. Her voice was calm, unbroken. Hold the line. If they want to crush us, they'll pay for every inch. Across the world, resistance fighters joined the push. In the forests, humans ambushed alien patrols. In ruined cities, snipers brought down alien officers. On the seas, submarines launched. Missiles from hidden depths. Everywhere, humans struck. The alien fleet expected obedience, but instead, Earth became a storm of knives. The arrogance of the invaders began to crack. They had faced thousands of species before. They had conquered worlds without resistance. But never had they faced a species that fought with such fury. Even in defeat, even in death, humans refused to bow. In the Alien War Council, younger officers whispered in fear. They fight like no others. They don't know when to stop. They are not afraid of death. What are these humans? The commander silenced them with a glare. But deep inside, even he felt the cold touch of doubt. On Earth, humanity grew stronger through pain. Families who had lost everything joined the cause. Mothers who buried children carried weapons. Old men who had fought in forgotten wars picked up rifles again. Unity had been forced by fire, and now the world moved as one. One soldier in the ruins of London said it best. We have nothing left to lose, and that makes us stronger than them. Back. In orbit, the Titan pushed forward through the alien swarm. Its cannons thundered, missiles roared, drones swarmed like hornets. The aliens pressed harder, but their losses mounted. For every human ship destroyed, 2 alien ships fell. The battlefield became a graveyard of steel. The old general watched from the war room on Earth, his voice steady, carrying to every commander, across the globe. This is the moment. They believed us weak. They believed us broken, but look at them now. Bleeding, burning, falling. This is the fall of their arrogance. Still, the price was heavy. The Titan shuddered with each hit, its armor glowing red-hot. Crew members were thrown from their stations. Fires burned in its halls. Yet no one gave up. One engineer, bleeding from a wound, dragged himself to the reactor console. His last words whispered through the comms. For Earth. Before pressing the switch that stabilized the core, sacrifice fed the fight. The alien commander roared in frustration. His empire had crushed countless worlds. But this was slipping from his grasp. Every blast from the Titan was a reminder. The humans would not kneel. Not now, not ever. When the battle slowed, Wreckage drifted across the void. Both sides had taken losses. But the difference was clear. The aliens had expected obedience, and instead they found resistance stronger than steel. On Earth, fires still burned, cities still cried. But the people raised their heads with pride. They knew the tide had turned. The war was no longer hopeless. The humans had shown the galaxy that even giants could bleed, and in that moment, as the Titan floated scarred but unbroken, one truth echoed through the stars. Arrogance had fallen, and humanity had risen. The final blow. The Titan floated in orbit, scarred and burning but still alive. Around it, the wreckage of alien ships drifted like shattered bones. Humanity had fought harder than anyone believed possible, but the war was not over. From the darkness of space, the alien mothership appeared. It was enormous, dwarfing even the Titan. Its surface was covered in glowing towers of weapons. Its engines burned like suns. It was the heart of the invasion, the command vessel, the symbol of alien pride. In the war room on Earth, the screen shook as the image of the mothership filled the wall. The young commander's voice cracked. "It's bigger than anything we've faced. If that ship attacks, Earth will fall." The old general stood tall, his eyes hard as stone. "Then that ship must die, even if it takes everything we have." Inside the Titan, Commander Vega stared at the colossal enemy. Her crew was exhausted, bloodied, many stations empty. But no one turned away. She tightened her jaw. "This is it, the last blow. If we win, Earth survives. If we lose, Earth burns." The alien commander's face appeared across human screens. His voice was cold, filled with arrogance that still clung to life. "You have fought well for animals, but this ends now. Watch as your world dies beneath my hand." The mothership's weapons charged. The sky above Earth glowed red as plasma. Cannons prepared to fire. Every city, every bunker, every human heart held its breath. Then the Titan roared forward. Engines blazing, weapons firing. It launched everything. Missiles, drones, beams of fire. The void lit up with explosions as the Titan hurled itself at the monster. Alien ships swarmed to protect their mothership. But human fighters broke through. Damaged squadrons, half-destroyed drones, even ships on the verge of collapse. All of them charged. One pilot screamed through the comms, "For my family." Before ramming his burning craft into an alien destroyer, the blast tore the enemy apart. On Earth, civilians prayed, soldiers shouted, children pressed their hands to the screens. The world was united in one desperate cry. Fight. The Titan's cannons ripped through layers of alien shields. But the mothership was massive, its armor thicker than mountains. Every strike shook it, but it did not fall. The alien commander sneered, "Futile, you cannot kill a god." Then, the Titan's reactor alarm screamed, "Reactor at critical, we cannot sustain this." The chief engineer shouted, "If we keep firing, the ship will tear itself apart." Vega's face hardened. "Then that is what we do. Better to burn than to kneel." She turned to her crew. "Prepare for ramming speed." A hush filled the command deck. They knew what it meant. They knew this was their last moment. But not. One voice argued, one officer even smiled. "An honorable way to die." The Titan charged, engines screamed louder than thunder. Its burning hull cut through the swarm, smashing aside alien ships. The mothership loomed ahead, its weapons firing. Plasma beams tore chunks from the Titan, but still it flew, unstoppable. On Earth, people saw the Titan blazing across the sky. Like a comet, tears ran down faces, fists clenched. They all knew, what their heroes were about to do. Inside the Titan, Commander Vega gave her last command, for Earth, for humanity, for freedom. The Titan slammed into the mothership. The collision shook the void with the force of a dying star. The unstable reactor inside the Titan unleashed all its energy. A blinding explosion spread across space. The mothership cracked, split, and then shattered into a storm of fire. Silence followed. The alien fleet froze, their command destroyed, their heart torn apart. Without orders, without leadership, they broke. Ships fled into the darkness, abandoning the battlefield. For the first time, in their empire's history. They ran on Earth. The night sky glowed with fire. But it was not the fire of destruction. It was the fire of victory. People poured into the streets, crying, shouting, hugging strangers. The old general stood in the war room, his face wet with tears he did not hide. They expected surrender, he whispered. But they got a war they could not defeat. The names of the Titan's crew spread like legend, heroes who gave their lives so the world could live. Songs were sung, monuments planned. But more than anything, every heart carried one truth. Humanity had not only survived, it had risen. The galaxy now knew the truth. Humans did not bow. Humans fought. And humans won. The final blow had been struck. The war was not just about Earth anymore. It was about showing the stars that arrogance could fall, and that even the smallest world could stand against giants. Humanity had written its place in history with fire, with sacrifice, with courage. The war was over, but the legend of Earth was only beginning.